Hello everyone, my name is Subasiso, but I'm also known as Coach Smooth. Welcome into the Maths Party tutorials. In this video, we are continuing with our financial maths series, and this is part 13. And then in this one, we're going to be talking about last payment. There was a part where I was talking about how we can calculate the number of payments, and then from there, I was discussing explaining to you that sometimes when you get an answer for n and it's a decimal, then the whole number that you see there, it tells you that these are the full amounts of this amount, and then the one decimal, those are the amounts that are going to be less than the full amount that you're paying. And in this video, we're actually figuring out what is that actual value, right? So if you haven't watched that video, please make sure that you go back into that part. It was actually part 11, so make sure that you go in that one, or I'm gonna also make sure that I add the link in the description. That way you can click there and see how we actually calculated that. But we are gonna be doing the same thing that we did in part 11, by the way. All right, so without wasting any further time, let's go ahead and read the instructions here. Now Jason wants to pay off a loan of 350,000 rands. Now he can afford to pay 9,000 rand per month. Now the interest rate is 15% compounded monthly. Now the question is, what is the value of his last payment? All right, now to calculate the value of your last payment, this is the things that you need to do. All right, so now number one, you need to find we're going to find the number of payments made, right? Of payments made. And then number two, you're gonna find the outstanding balance after full payments. So by full payments, this basically means that after we basically done paying those full 9,000 rands, right? And then thirdly, we want to find the outstanding balance, right? Or the last payment. Last payment. All right, so let's go ahead and do that one. So let's start off with the first step, which is the number of payments made. Now, in order for us to get these numbers of payments made, of course, we need to get our information. So we see that our present value loan here, it is 350,000 rands. The amount of payment per month, it is 9,000 rand. The interest charged, it is 15%. This is compounded monthly, right? And then from here, we need to find what is n. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to take our formula, P equals to x into 1 minus 1 plus I into minus n over I. So if you remember in our previous videos, we're going to need to find I there. So it means now we're going to cross multiply the I, and then it's going to be x into 1 minus 1 plus I to the power of minus n. And then here we're going to divide with x. That way we have I times P over x being equals to 1 minus 1 plus I to the minus n. And then we're going to take this minus 1 plus I to the power of minus n, take it to the left side, then take the part on the left side to the right side. Therefore, we have 1 plus I to the power of minus n equals to 1 minus I times P over x. And then from here, we're going to apply our logs. Now, minus n, it is going to be log base 1 plus I into 1 minus I times P over x, right? Then, therefore, n is going to be minus log of 1 plus I into 1 minus I times P over x. Then from here, we're going to substitute then to calculate n. Now, n, it is going to be minus log into 1 plus 15% over 12 of 1 minus, and then this is still 15% over 12 multiplied by 350,000 rand. 350,000 rand over x, which is 9,000 rand. Alright, so now here I see that I missed 1 0, so I'm just going to put it in there. Right, and then from here we're going to press this into our calculator. So in our calculator, I'm going to press minus log, and then inside the log I'm going to put 1 plus 15% over 12, and then from here we're going to take into 1 minus open fraction, and then again 15% over 12, multiplying this by 350,000 rand over 9,000. Now let's see what we get. So we're getting 53,5920 something something. So we write the answer as it is. So 53,59,204 143. All right. Now from here, what do we then do? So the next step now from this, it is to find outstanding balance after full payments, right? So now remember, we said earlier that when you're finding n like this, right, this means now this 53 was the full 9,000 rand payments. Those were the full 9,000 rand payments, right? So that was that. And then now this value right here, the decimal part, this decimal part here, it was an amount, or it was a payment, but this payment was less than 9,000 rand. So it means this was less than 9,000 rand. So in this video, that is basically what we're trying to find. We're trying to find what is this actual value if it's less than 9,000 rand. So in order for us to do that, we're going to go into the next step, which is the outstanding balance. Now we want to check this outstanding balance after our 53rd payment, or after 53rd payment of this 9,000 rand. So balance. So for this we're going to use n as 53, right? So we know that OB, it is P into 1 plus I into the power of m minus x into 1 plus I to the power of n minus 1 over I, right? Now m is going to be 53 and n is going to be 53. So this will actually help us to find out what is the outstanding balance after that. Right, so let's go ahead and substitute right there. So we have 350,000 rands into 1 plus 15% over 12 to the power of 53, right? Then we write this n is also 53. Okay, now I'm going to subtract this with 9,000 rand into 1 plus 15% over 12 to the power of 53 minus 1 over 15% over 12. Now our outstanding balance will then be, so I'm going to type it out, 350,000 rand into 1 plus 15% divided by 12 to the power of 53 minus 9,000 rand into 1 plus 15% over 12 to the power of 53 minus 1 over 15% over 12. Now this is our outstanding balance. Now please don't think that is the final payment. That is not the final payment. It is still our outstanding balance. So it is 5275, right, comma 92 0397, I think. Let me just check. There we go. And then now from here, we are then going to do the last step. Now the last step now, it is finding last payment. Now to find the last payment, all we have to do is to take our outstanding balance, or our new value is to take our outstanding balance that we get, and then we basically raise it into or multiply it by 1 plus I, right? So that is basically how we find our last payment. Let me just write it like that. Last payment, it is your outstanding balance multiplied by 1 plus I. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at that. Now our outstanding balance, we know it is that 5275, 920,397 multiplied by 1 plus 15% over 12. Alright, so press this into our calculator then. So we already have this, so let me just write it as it is so that people don't make mistakes. 0397 multiplied by 1 plus 15% over 12. And that is going to be our outstanding balance. Now this is 5,341 rand. 41 rand, 87 cents. 87 cents, and that is how we find our last payment. All right, and that's it for this video. In our next one, we're going to be talking about the deviations now as to what happens when no payment is being made at the end, and we're gonna see you into that one. Cheers.